What's up, YouTube? This is Matt from the Tabletop Life podcast, and today we've got another unboxing video for you. I know it seems like forever that we've been talking about Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising. So we really are playing this game for our episode next month. But in preparation for that, I want to go ahead and go through an unboxing with you today so that when you're listening to the podcast and we're going through all these things, you'll know what we're talking about, because there are a ton of pieces to this, including a crazy large Voldemort statue that watches over you like the Eye of Sauron. It's crazy. So let's go ahead, crack this bad boy open, and see everything that's inside. Alright guys, here we have Death Eaters Rising. Let's open this game up and start checking it out. So you'll notice it does come with this nice little slip cover. Take this off. And the box is very reflective. I don't know if this is coming through, but it's very cool looking. So we do have a very nice rule book here. And this just goes through some of the pieces with you. Walks you through setup and how your board should look. How the game plays. We referenced this quite a bit, and within a couple of rounds we were up and going. And there are some variants you can play in here. Again, this is a very nice thing to have around while you're playing. Okay, so set up right here. These are some of the locations in the game, and we've got ones you would know: One Shop, Gringotts Bank, Hogshead Inn, straight out of the game. They're the movie just like you'd expect. And in these locations, you basically have to defend them, and if you lose a location, bad things happen. The meat and potatoes here is going to be the characters. And so there are characters, and you can see they have different teams, for lack of a better term, they belong to. You spend currency, you spend tokens to buy different people to be on your team. And the teams that you build have to be very purpose-driven for what you're trying to achieve. So in some cases, like we just talked about locations, you might be all about defending a location, or you might build a team that's designed to go after an enemy and defeat an enemy. It's very hard to build a general purpose team in this game, is what I found. I felt like you really had to specialize and go after a goal. And as you go through, you'll lose people, and then you have to draft more people. But the more people you get at one time, the more actions you can perform. So I'll go through some other ones here. You can see it shows their abilities and also the costs. This one has 2 of the hat tokens and 1 wand token for Horus. And he can handle 4 damage. generally, Slytherin is who you'll be fighting. So, Bellatrix here. You'll notice a lot of the Slytherin people have this condition that if Voldemort is present, and we'll get to that next whenever we go through the board here, but what that means is that the Voldemort statue, which I just cannot wait to show you, it's very cool, is like a modifier for the bad guys. There you go. This is probably the centerpiece of this game. I mean, it's very cool. So I'm just going to lay it here, and to give you some scale, there's a regular size card next to it. So it's a good size. Very detailed. It's got some heft to it. I mean, it's not super heavy. It's not like solid or anything, but so this little, you can see this serpent token here. I'm going to set this up. These are board pieces. And so your Voldemort figure sits here in the middle, and he will turn a direction. As he turns, say we had Lucius over here, we get back to if he is pointing at Lucius, that's whenever that modifier comes in. If Voldemort is present, he is present when he is facing toward that person. And that generally gives them some sort of a bonus. This is how, again, the board sets up. Let me get this out of the way here so I can show you. These are, go back to the teams I was talking about earlier. There's a Voldemort card. And this kind of sits off to the side with He Who Shall Not Be Named. So we have Hogwarts here. It's one of the factions. The Order of the Phoenix. And Dumbledore's Army. There are 2 sets because you can have up to 6 players. These are damage tokens. Multiple tokens in here for the symbols you saw earlier. There's the sorting hat. There's the sword. Oh, I'm just going to take one of these out. They're pretty good quality. I haven't really noticed a lot of fraying on the edges or anything, so it's always something we look forward to. They've got kind of a matte finish to them. But again, here, as I was saying, we've got the tokens for the sword, phoenix, the sorting hat, and you have to accumulate a certain number of these to perform items or attract people to your team. Finally, we have a ton of dice. So all these dice, you see, have different symbols and numbers on them that match. This is what you roll to determine your actions. And depending on how many people you have of a certain group that have those symbols, that's how many dice you're going to roll. So if you have, 5 different actions, you get to roll 5 dice, which means you have 5 times the chance to be effective. As opposed to if you only have 2, you only get to roll 2. So you see how your odds increase exponentially the more people you have on your team. Finally, there's one additional die. And this is the Voldemort die. You roll this to determine where Voldemort is going to turn. So that affects which way he turns. You roll that. He either stays at the same place he's looking at, he turns clockwise, or counterclockwise. This can really have a huge impact on what you're trying to do. And we'll dive into all this, of course, on the podcast episode. But that gives you a quick run through of what all is included in the Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising set. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth look at Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising. Be sure to follow our podcast so you can get the episode next month where we review this bad boy. You can find all of our content at www.tabletopLifePodcast.com. You'll find photo galleries, links to all of our episodes, links to other YouTube unboxings, our social media, and more. Speaking of social media, you can always follow us on Instagram or Twitter, and our handles on both are @TabletopLife. So until the next time, game over.